Welcome to the Quantum Awakening podcast, where we invite you to embark on a profound exploration of conscious evolution, human transformation, DNA upgrades, and the harmonious fusion of science and spirituality. Guiding you through this enlightening journey are your dynamic hosts, Sharon and Amanda Bowden. With their extensive knowledge and expertise, they will serve as your trusted leaders of knowledge. Sharon, with her deep spiritual insight and celestial race knowledge, will shed light on the mystical aspects of your existence. Meanwhile, Amanda will share her expertise around manifesting, mind-body-soul connections, and how science and psychology are intertwined with spirituality. Join us on a transformative journey to enhance your perspective and to bring you enlightenment.
Welcome to our podcast, The Quantum Awakening, exploring conscious evolution. And today, you have your presenters Sharon and Amanda Bowden.
Hello.
And we're going to be talking about soul connection, higher self. Now, I was going to lead it off with the understanding of our guides, and we've already done a podcast about our universal guide. So if you have not listened to that one, I'd advise you actually listen to that, because it will give you a greater understanding for this podcast.
Yeah, it's all about universal guides.
Yeah. So this podcast, I'm going to start off with the connection to the soul and the higher self. And I'll just quickly explain that we have guides that work with us from the day we were born, and they come in and out. And I do a course called Soul Connection course. And the reason I do this course is to help humans recognize the connection with the soul is different to the connection with the guides. Now, the guides, the way I explain it, is an energy that surrounds us, and we can see them, know they're there, feel their presence, blah, blah, blah. Again, listen to that other podcast and you're really getting in depth into that. With the soul, this is an energy within us that's the reflection of our higher self. The higher self can be a physical ascended being or a light, multidimensional transitional being who choose to incarnate into a human body to help Earth with our ascension. But they also come to learn about us, but also our behaviour. And believe it or not, we are part of an education system in the universe.
Yep.
About how not to be. Just very putting it briefly. So for those of you who want to try and understand this soul connection, the soul connection is this feeling within you. And they always show it to me as a silver cylinder sitting behind my heart. And they call it the heart space. And this has a thread that's, just to put it into visual context for you, it's actually an energy thread. Sometimes seen as a silver thread that goes to the higher self and is always connected from the moment that the soul is connected with the body. The reason we're talking about the soul connection is so that you can actually learn to connect to your inner self. So this is not your human essence, which I'll explain about, but the soul connection. And when you learn to connect to that soul connection, it's a different experience to connecting with your guides. And this is what I do this course on. It's only a couple of hours. I do it online and I do it in a physical environment as well.
And I gotta just butt in here. I put my hand up. No one can see me. I don't know why I do that.
It's just so I know you want to speak, love, because you know what I'm like. Plug me in and I'm off.
Anyway, yeah. So I've done that. I've done the workshop with Sharon many years ago, and that's what exactly kick-started my journey. So I know it works, and it's awesome.
What I found with people is that it really starts to make them aware of this inner energy that we all possess, which has been called the soul for a very long time, many centuries of time, even before religion. You're breaking down to Catholics and all the religions that know there's a soul base. In the ancient times, so the soul incarnation program came about over 300,000 years ago.
Wow.
With the Atlantis experiments. in time frame.
Was it also to do with the Lemurians as well?
Yeah, we could go into that. Yeah, the Lemurians, the DNA structure of humans.
Cool.
So they started creating a better human race, and into about the third or fourth, I'll have to go back into my Atlantis book, they actually brought in incarnation,
Yeah.
because it was just so they could, and then that started to link up with chakra systems, meridian points of energy, and there was beings that were called the Solitarians who oversaw this.
Okay.
And that's what my guide John is. He's from there.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So this soul connection is just really important. If you're starting to awaken, or you're wherever you are on your spiritual path, if you're not really understanding, some people say, well, it's my intuition. How many of you don't follow your intuition? How many of you have thought, well, I feel that's the right way, but this ego little blob in you is going, nope, I'm going to go that way because there's more money involved, and actually it was the other way which was the right way for you. So it's fun. So your intuition and your soul connection is a gift given to you to use on your earth life. So you can use your soul connection. Once you've connected to your soul and you recognize the energy, you can have conversations with your soul reflection and your higher self. It's an amazing experience. But from my own practice of this, I would say you are not allowed to abuse this. It's you have a plan you have to come here with, where you are going to trigger stuff, be catalyst for other people, or you're going to be the catalyst for other people's experiences. And everybody's unique and different. So your soul plan or blueprint of life is there, and your higher self knows about it, and that reflection of self within is like a little sat nav to guide you through the 3D reality from the higher ascension reality.
And that's where I've learned a little bit more in depth this year, because I've learned or certified into MBIT as a coach. And what we learned in that was the detail around how you do connect with your higher self, and the heart leads the way, whereas a lot of people believe that it's your head. Even though the thoughts create your reality and everything like that, the heart leads the way, because it is like the heart of your higher self and your soul. But also the connection is with your gut and your head brain as well. So when you've got all those three in alignment, that's why it brings more peace of mind and body.
And it's so weird that you just said gut, because they just put something in my head. The health of the gut is really important in the human body.
Yeah.
Because it affects how you feel all over. It's not so the physical gut as well as the spiritual gut.
Which coincides with what we were chatting about this morning, diets. Because
too many chocolates.
Yeah, so what I've learned on this journey is, like, if around like depression and different things like that, if you keep your gut as clean as possible, because like maybe 80 to 90% of what you put in your gut goes upwards into the brain as signals up into the brain, because some of us believe that it goes the other way. Our brain does it first.
Yeah.
But if you feed yourself good, healthy food, clean eating and that kind of thing, then it balances the chemicals out in your mind, because it goes upwards.
Oh, wow. Didn't know. I learned something there, guys. That's amazing. So it's really, there's so much involved in all this, and we do have a little habit of diverting off a little bit, but then that's what it's all about, because you're going to learn from anything we say, hopefully.
But then we also learn from each other, which is really cool too.
Yeah, we do, don't we? Even though we've had many conversations and we do these podcasts, we're learning. So this is what the soul connection is. Now we're probably linking a bit with past lives here as well. Again, we have a podcast we've done on that. So again, if you'd like to learn more about that, but so I'm going to talk a bit about human essence and define this for you, because when I first came to me from my guides, I was brought up in Christian faith that my physical body dies and my soul goes to heaven.
Yeah,
and if I've been a good girl, I won't go down to hell.
Yeah, that's true.
Sort of thing.
Yeah.
But when I've been working with my guides, in the last few years, they've brought in things which have blown my mind
Okay.
and resonated with me as truth, because I thought, as soon as I knew about it, I thought, oh my God, that's what it is. So we have something called the human essence,
Yeah.
which is an ethereal, conscious, light-giving energy that emerges at the moment of human physical conception on Earth. This essence of life is created from the I'm reading this, by the way, unconditional love from the divine God source energy. This human essence is what comes. So God source energy is where we have the overseers in the universe that guide us all up in the 10th, 11th, 12th dimension energies. The human essence does go back to a source which some want to think of as heaven.
Mm.
This source is a light, conscious source. It's not a physical source, but you can create physical reality from that source. So perhaps that's how it came about that they thought God created Earth.
Yeah, as in a being.
Yeah. So the human essence, when it leaves the body, has all your information, what you physically look like, every moment of your life, every second of your life is recorded in this energy. And when the physical body dies, the soul, reflection of self, the higher self, departs, which you know is a friend, which is in your body.
Yeah.
And the essence goes as well. And they both travel back to the higher source, the higher self, where life is reflected of what's happened, what we've learned. And they take away the negative energy. Isn't how we understand negative energy. It's learnt from. And then the energy that's heavier will be dispersed. And they keep the positive from all the learnings.
Okay, that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then it's time to say goodbye to the human essence, and the human essence carries on its travel to, I call it the God source energy, because really it's easy for people to understand.
And that's mad because, like, through NLP, we're taught in timeline that when we do timeline therapy with people, that's exactly what it's used for, because you store emotions in the body and different things like that. But if you go back to the first event of which it happened in your subconscious, you're able to take the positive learnings from it to move on.
Oh, cool.
So that those emotions then, the negative part, are not in the body stored anymore. They're gone.
Yeah, so they're doing a similar thing, aren't
Yeah.
they?
Yeah.
So when the human essence returns to the source, the home source, as I call it, they are at different levels of existence. So they could be quite high ascension. There's 67 levels they've told me in this higher source energy they go back to, and they can choose to come back as a human again, their essence of life, or they can carry on doing whatever they're doing. And the higher self is the same when the soul energy goes back. So the soul energy is a reflection of their energy. So the higher being, which could be a physically ascended, or as I said earlier, the light being, gives some of themselves to the human. That's what the soul connection is. And it's a really high divine energy that's sitting within us. And they have to work really hard to keep this energy within this 3D form, because this 3D form is like heavier energy, and it's got this. So that's where the crown chakra comes in. If you know about Reiki and chakras, there's always been a source, and they point it to the top. I've got my hand on top of my head while I'm talking here, pointing to the top of my, I don't know why, you can't see me, but somehow you have to do the actions. And this is where the soul connects up through the pineal gland, through the subconscious, up through the pineal gland, through to the higher self. Now, the higher self works with your guide team, your guides.
Yeah.
And they all interconnect and make, and you know, so you've really got quite a support network out there, guys.
That's
in the
exactly
cosmos.
what they are, aren't they?
Yeah. Have I missed anything there? Have you got any thoughts on that?
All I was going to add is, like, from my understanding, it's just literally a change of words and understanding, like the connection. So, like,
yeah,
for me, like the sciencey part, I would use the word symbiosis.
Ooh.
As I know,
I can't even spell that.
But it's literally, I wrote it in one of my books. I can't remember which one. So it's literally the way that I explain the connection for me has come off, believe it or not, Star Trek Discovery. Because there's a character in the series where she's connecting with her guides, but they don't show it as guides in this series. They're just people that are guiding her on her path. And I've connected it with a higher self, and she's like, oh, it's like a symbiosis, meaning that like there's a relationship going on with two, not entities, but two living organisms,
Right.
who work as a team. And it could be more than one, it could be more than two.
Stargate.
Star Trek.
Yeah.
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 And so that's my explaining of it, because that's a natural process.
Because we can't actually see the soul. We don't have
No.
a living entity within us from
No.
that point of view, the physical point of view. It's really hard for society to trust it, and yet millions trust it through religion.
And I've got to be honest, only the last couple of months I've started to trust mine more, because I've had to be honest with myself that and many of us do this because it's normal, listen to that inner voice that's like the critic part.
Yeah.
You don't do this, da da da, you know, the part that's keeping you what it thinks is safe, but it's not, it's keeping you small.
Yeah.
And then when you start connecting to your higher self and your reflection of self, as in your soul, it starts to turn positive, and it's actually guiding you, and you're like, oh, this is weird, it's giving me positive guidance. And like sometimes I don't want to listen because it's not normal for me, but accepting it as well. It's like a process of trusting and building the relationship like we do with our guides.
Yes,
kind of
it
thing.
is. And the other thing I should mention while I'm talking about the soul connection is something called ego. Now, what you must realise is the human body, the human form, can exist on Earth without an incarnated soul. Because the human essence is an energy that comes and creates the life. Part of this human essence is something which is an energy within us, which is a survival instinct, and it's been named ego. Ego can be a friend, but ego can be a foe. So the ego is the part of us, say you haven't got an incarnated soul and you're surviving, you would have more wars because there'd be more egotistic people wanting power, fighting over money. It can be quite a negative concept because they don't have that spirituality understanding.
And it's not connected to source energy.
Yeah. And so it's a heavier world, even heavier world we'd be living in. So the soul connection is to bring the light to the world. The ego will slowly over time, as we ascend as a human race, start to be suppressed. So I always give the example of the job. So there's a job, you come to a point in your life where you need to change your job, perhaps you're about to be made redundant. You see the job at the garden centre and it's slightly less pay. You've got to work on us every other Saturday, which you're not keen on. But, you love the thought of working there. You feel, it'd be my ideal job. Then another job comes. It's a 5-day week, little bit more pay, perhaps have to do the odd evenings, blah, blah, blah. Not really so keen on it, but the egos go, money, money, money. There's, or you'll have your weekends off, but is that the one that's right for you? So you go with that job. 6 months down the line, you absolutely dislike it, you're really unhappy. So you think, it's time to look for another job again. So you look for another job, and that garden one's got another person they want now. So you go for that. And you start to become happier. And then through that, you start to get interested in flower design and displays. And you become a florist. And you suddenly, that was your door opening for you to progress into your next bit of life. So you should have followed your gut, your soul intuition for that one, and not that one.
Also, when you do start connecting to your higher self and your soul, you'll start to realise more that you don't have to make those choices of one or the other, because there's more than two choices always. There's always 3 options or more.
Ooh,
yeah. So
that's cool.
That's the evolution part where we're coming out of the ego and survival.
Yeah.
And we're going towards the unity of how we best serve on a whole, not just for ourselves as where we are placed, but as a whole as well.
Wow. Okay.
I know. I don't know where that
So-
comes from.
So with this soul connection, you know, you've got a sat nav and an intuition you should use, and I use it quite a lot now. So I use it on my social media. I get lots of friends requests and things going on, and people commenting on stuff, and they go yes, no, and I use it to guide me.
Yeah.
through what I need to delete and keep.
Yeah.
A very simple connection, nothing difficult about it. I don't argue with the yes and no's because I've learnt to know they're correct. So with the ego, over time, this little gremlin, call it a gremlin that's in us, yes, it can help us in some ways to be strong, but it's people that are very, you hear somebody say, oh, they're very egotistic, aren't they? And they've walked in the room, they're full of their confidence. But you can be confident and whatever, but in a way that's more spiritual. So you could be really wealthy, good looking, but you could be helping those other people, and people perhaps don't know it's that. Do you see what I mean? It's that, and then eventually over time,
Mindset.
if we ascend into the higher vibes of fourth and fifth way of understanding, which is like caring, compassion, kindness, looking after ourselves, others, unity, the planet, the ego will shrink away. And one day, the ego brings self-doubt.
Yeah.
And self-doubt is what's going to hold humans back. So once we eliminate that self-doubt and we always have that trust, that inner trust, that's when we're going to make that huge evolutional step.
Yeah. Interesting. So, like, I've just written some things out because for me, where I've been writing my books, it's been like a self-discovery path. So I just wanted to share with you guys like the experiences that I've gone through a little bit and how I've come to discover who my higher self is, and like how, and a little bit like you said, what they do on our path. So like for me, like I said at the beginning, I started with Sharon's workshop many years ago. So this is like something that's been culminated over like years of development. Really, it's not something that's come straight in, and that's how the journey started. And then as I was writing, I can't remember if it was Reflection of Self or Hero's Journey, I asked who my higher self was, because I was starting to become aware of it and like more interested and wanted to learn. And there was the most random thing happened, like the TV turned on its own, and my DVD player come on and it said Blu-ray, and I was like, what the hell's Blu-ray? I was like, what is that? But my guides know me well, and they know that I'll research the hell out of stuff. So that's what I did. But also, like a while after that, I was sat in meditation, because I do silent meditation with my guides. And Ray, who I know is my higher self now, showed me an actual visual of like what she might look like. And it was like I can only explain. It's just a blue bird-like being with blue feathers. If you Google Blu-ray, you will probably find lots of pictures.
Well, they're in
of people
ancient history, aren't they?
Yeah.
And some carvings and stuff. Yeah.
And so literally, like when I was researching and stuff, I come through loads of websites. A lady called Shakina Rowe, she's a Blu-ray as well. Lots of other things. And as I was going along there, and I realised this year that because I was doing more progression and we was doing the podcast, and it kind of opened me up more as well.
Yeah.
And I listened to a book around Lemurian times to learn that I generally incarnate at times where the cycles on Earth end and begin. So like we're coming towards the end of a 26,000 year cycle of humanity, which we know because it's been prophesized that it would come towards the end in 2012, and people took on the wrong presentation of it and thought it's the end of the world kind of thing. But it's not. It's the beginning of a new evolution in our humanity, really. And literally, so I found out that Lemurians, what was it, Lemurian, Phoenix, oh my god, avian, blue ray. So this is the return of like the bird tribes, and it's said that they will come back in the time of need when things are getting challenging, and they will be a
And
great...
The Pleiadians, well, they're not a bird tribe, but they've come back as well to help us.
Because they'll be a great gathering of souls coming back together. But this is where, like, the Master Miracle Manifesto, where I use like universal numbers and stuff like that, is a quantum technology that was taught to the Lemurians, younglings.
Yeah.
And so, like, I've learned that is my higher self. Her name is Ray. She's part of the bird tribe, a phoenix bird tribe. She's blue ray. Like you said, she's here to navigate from a blueprint that we do before we come here. But also knowing that that is not set in stone. It's for our highest intention. But because we have free will, we're able to create our own reality, so we can change it if we want to.
Yeah.
But they will keep us on the path, if that makes sense. Yeah, so that's Ray. She's Lemurian. She's a Phoenix avian blue ray. And I know there's so many people out there right now who are probably learning about themselves, and it might resonate with you.
If you want to learn to connect to your guides and higher self, then, you know, the soul connection is a very good way forward to do that, because part of the soul connection is actually bringing understanding of what guides are as well. So, you know, you can contact me if you want to know more about that. I have actually written a book called Soul Connection. It's called Adeline, The Spirit Within, and it's got my past lives in it, but there is a bit at the beginning about the soul connection, and yeah, it's
I forgot about that.
Yeah,
because the higher self as well, when you start to learn about yourself more, all your like we said in the one of the episodes in our first season of the podcast, our past experiences start to surface as well, because all the skills that we've learned through the past,
it's never lost.
No, it's coming back up, and we're kind of relearning and reconnecting with them.
Oh God, they just put something in my head. There we go.
So we kind of trigger each other, which is cool.
Human essence. I'm going back to the human essence I talked about earlier.
Okay.
So the saying, so I always have to shut my eyes when I do this because I'm being channeled this at the moment. Okay, so the higher self with the soul connection is obviously different. There is a being that is working with us. The human essence records all of that life experience, also holds all of the past life. So any life it's chosen to have before. So we're not talking soul here, we're talking the human essence energy that goes back to God's source. The lives they've had, or experiences, because it might not be Earth, it might be another planet, another experience, is all held within that energy. So when they come here and they connect, again, that part of the history we will not remember in this 3D reality unless we start on our spiritual journey and learn to connect. Then they will then trigger. So this is what the trying to understand the DNA of human form. DNA can hold ancient. So when the human essence forms the human physical body, what we understand is DNA holds the ancient codes within it from its past, and can be triggered as needed when we're going through, like now, this new awakening, as Amanda said, it's an end of a cycle and a new one starting. A lot of these human essences have been here in ancient times are coming back to be reborn.
Yeah.
So it's big stuff, isn't it? I've got a bit of headache now.
That's so
like,
cool.
whoa. Bit spaced out. Yes, cool.
No, that makes sense, because then like me and Sharon were talking about energies and stuff before we started doing this, and over the last year we've had a high amount of what we call like solar flares coming in, and so this is helping to unlock our DNA and those past lives, which are what we were explaining about, so we can remember who we truly are on an authentic level.
Well, that's it. We talk about, I do a lot of things. I go, oh, learn about your true self. Yeah, what is your true self? The more I've gone down this path, I'm speaking my truth now. I went out for Christmas dinner yesterday, and you should have heard the conversation. And they were trying to out-science me about the quantum and everything. And I said to him, I don't need the science conversation. I said, you need to listen to my podcast so you'll understand what I'm talking about. And it's when you're trying to speak your truth, your understanding, because your knowledge has expanded so much, and you're trying to put it out to help people ascend and give that one bit of spark to change their lives and their understanding. And then when people start to take the mick a bit out of you, and very nicely done, and I just went, nah. Yeah, and it'd been a while ago. Well, I would have just shut up and not talked. But I said, no, you need to understand what I'm saying. So I was building a model on the table with all the glasses and everything, explaining what I meant. And the mouths were dropping open, and I was like holding this conversation, explaining what I was talking about to them, because it was way beyond their heads.
Yeah.
Because they were trying to say to me, well, gravity is the same through the universe. And I'm going, no, it's not. And everything they did, I counteracted, but explained why it wasn't, which I think is what surprised people. But 3 years ago, I wouldn't have done that.
No, because you're putting your perspective over and your point of view and beliefs over.
Yeah.
And then sometimes when we do that, people are going to push you back anyway because you're hitting on their beliefs, which is cognitive dissonance.
Yeah, these were 60, 70-year-old people that have... And the conversation started because one of them had an out-of-body experience. So I didn't trigger any conversation, and that led into a couple of hours of
And then, from what we know in NLP, when you talk about things like that, and it might hit us something like cognitive dissonance because you're hitting on people's beliefs.
Yeah.
Even though that might be, they'll probably go away and think about that and have time to process it. And somewhere along the line, it'll come back up and they'll think, actually, that's quite interesting. I might have a look what that is.
And it's having confidence that in what knowledge you're gaining from your guides, from writing, whatever in your life. If you're working in a business and you're trained in that section, you're trained, just have the confidence to say, I do know what I'm talking about, and you're always going to learn from other people as well, though.
Definitely.
So just keep that awareness as well. And and I've just ordered another book I'm going to read. And I'm always learning and being guided to certain elements for my growth, because you never ever stop learning while you're here.
No.
Ever.
No.
To the day we go over, we will continue growing and expanding our knowledge, and that's everybody on earth, no matter where you are in your journey. Even if you're not really accepting what we're saying, I mean, you probably switched it off by now if you're not, but probably not even listening to this, but you see what I mean. But it's like, just learn it. So when I say I'm learn to speak your truth, it's connecting with your soul that helps you have the confidence to do that.
But for me, for ages, my guides have been going, speak your truth. And I'm like, I don't understand what you mean.
Yeah.
And then last week, the penny dropped and I was like listening to something and I was like, oh my God, it's so simple. It's just literally speaking about what you believe is true, because that is your truth.
Yeah.
Because we've all got our own version of the truth.
Yeah, so my perspective yesterday when I was having these conversations was what I've learned and what I know my guides want me to get out there to help people, humanity change. Even in the language of writing this book, it's in a slightly different language to the others. It's because they're changing the way they're putting things across.
So they're like, where people are evolving and their intelligence is getting higher. It's helping with that and like vocabulary words. So like for me, when I've been doing books and stuff and the dyslexia part and everything, like I'm quite slow, but actually reading books like that. I'll research words if I want to know what they are, and then that's how we learn as well and expand.
Well, this is what I've been doing. I've been given words I've never seen before.
Mm.
And I'm like, oh my God, what does that mean? I look it up and I go, oh, that's interesting. And I carry on. I'm just trusting the process.
That's cool.
Anyway, so have we got anything else to add?
Yeah, I want to go back to the higher self and like having experiences, because from what I've been learning, like our higher selves also have like mentors above them, like you were saying about the levels and different things.
Yes, they do. Yes.
And
they have someone to answer to.
Yeah. So like, where was I going with it? So many people who may have been on the discovery path of like the star seeds, which is what your higher self is connected to and why we're incarnated and that kind of thing, you may understand that you've had life experiences as different celestial beings as well, not just one.
Right.
If that makes sense. Even though like I know my current higher self and what I connect with is Ray, there might have been a point in time where I've been incarnated on a different place in the universe first.
Yeah.
That may have been like an Arcturian or something like that.
Yeah.
So there's just bringing that in because I know that the next episode we're doing is around star kids.
It is, isn't it? That's
Yeah.
exciting. Well, we hope you understood everything we've said today. I'm not sure my mind's gone a bit spinny, but we always listen back and think, oh my God, did we really say that?
I love it. I love listening to it because I learn too.
So anyway, go off and relax and have a lovely day wherever you are.
Bye for now.
Bye.